Hello again. So, today is an absolutely miserable day. It is pouring outside. I think they said we were supposed to get 20 mil of rain. So, we may need a boat out here. The backyard is flooding a little bit, but it's not too bad, which is good. Um, so, today I'm going to make some paper. And I hope you enjoy learning along with me. Um, this will be my second attempt at making paper, so we'll see how that goes. It's pretty simple in concept, but seemingly a lot harder to execute. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy the process of making paper with me, and hopefully, the weather clears up at some stage and we can go outside, but not looking likely at the moment. uh, what do you do? So, essentially, to make paper, all you do is soak some like scrap pieces of paper. This was some old like learning modules that I had to do for work. So instead of throwing them out, I just kept them like the hoarder that I am. And you essentially blend them up into a paper pulp, and then you add the pulp into like a big bucket or makeshift bucket that I have, um, with just normal water. And then, yeah, you use a screen, um, which I made out of a picture frame and a old fly screen that we had lying around that was on a window, or that was like on a frame that was broken. So it wasn't usable anyway. And yeah, you essentially just use it as kind of a strainer with the paper pulp. Um, and you lie it on usually some sort of felt, but also cotton works. So I've got an old cut up bed sheet that had a super awful tear in it. And once again, instead of throwing it out, I've just held on to it until I could find another use for it. Um, and making paper is the one. And then you kind of sponge out the excess water and, yeah, lift up the frame and hope for the best. It's really great because it's super forgiving. Because, as you probably saw in one of the previous clips, if you muck up, you can just scrape up the pulp and put it back in the bucket and essentially just try again. I did have a little bit of trouble getting the paper to separate from the frame. I don't know if that was because my cotton sheets were too wet. Um, but next time I do this, I might try to do it with some dry sheets first. But it's a very messy craft. So the sheets kind of just get soaked, um, especially if you're doing it in a pile like I was. And yeah, there's not really any way to avoid that. But anyway, I'll just let you watch the last little bit of this, and then essentially you just hang them up to dry. And that's pretty much it. So these are the dried papers that I made, and I'm just gonna peel them off the backing, hopefully. And then hopefully we can do a bit of a test print on them. Yeah, they look alright. It's kind of what they look like. Textured side and a smoother side. So yeah. I mean, some of them have cracks and things, but that's okay. I can just use, I'll cut them into smaller shapes. That one's pretty good. I might run an iron over some of these as well, just to get a smoother or flatter, really, surface. That was pretty good. Happy with that. And the last little one. Done. Success. So today we're gonna go to the market and have a look around, see if there's anything tasty to buy, and then potentially go to the op shop to do a bit of a crafty project this afternoon. But it is freezing outside. So I'm all rugged up and ready to go. Let's go. So the market was very cold this morning and maybe not the nicest weather to be doing outdoory activities. But it's always nice to kind of go to a local market, have a bit of a walk around, watch the cute little dogs. But yes, also went to some op shops and picked up some fabricy kind of things because we went to watch a musical called Hadestown, and the chorus wear these kind of leathery looking overalls, and I thought it would be fun to try and recreate something like that, because I just really like the aesthetic of those. So I bought some old jackets to upcycle, hopefully. And yeah, I've got a few different things to make into a bit of a patchwork kind of thing. And I don't know, I've never made overalls before. Never really made much clothing before, but gotta start somewhere. So we'll see how it goes. And we'll probably have to go to the craft shop 8 times to buy random things. But we can start for now. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today. So, in terms of pattern, I have these pants that I quite like the fit of, like the leg fit. And I also have a pair of overalls that are very covered in cat hair. So I figured with both of these pieces, I would be able to make a pair of overalls, or at least a pattern for a pair of overalls. So we'll see how it goes. So here I am starting on the pattern making, essentially. Yeah, just kind of tracing around my already existing overalls, especially for the like front and the back strappy kind of parts, just to make sure I got that in the right shape, which in hindsight I shouldn't have added those extra little flappy bits to the side. I should have just made it straight down, and I think that would have worked better. And here I'm kind of making the waistband, which again I shouldn't have stitched these all together, which I did when I was making them. But you try things and you fail, and then you try something different. That's generally the way that I tend to do these crafty projects. Probably not the smartest way or the way that makes your life the easiest, but it's kind of a trial and error process for me. So yeah, I'll let you watch some of the piece making and the sewing. It was just a little stitching random bits and pieces together. Here I'm making the front pocket, which again, in hindsight, it is already a pocket, so I should have just stitched the whole thing down. But now it has a double pocket, which I guess is kind of useful. But yeah, I'll let you watch a little bit of the process. here's my littlest helper, and she was being such a menace and attacking all my scraps. Okay, so now I kind of have the front and the back pieces. I might add a little bit of extra length to the front legs because I think they're a lot shorter than the back ones, just so I can line them up a bit better when I stitch them together. Yeah, I think so far it's been okay. Been a bit of a learning curve on how to stitch these together. I think my biggest issue will be how to like fasten the side, and then I bought some belts for the straps, but I don't really know if I'm going to use them or like how to stitch them on, so I might just end up using some spare fabric that Celia is guarding. But yes, I will see. And then this was the hardest part of the whole process, sewing a stupid button on. I don't know why I had such a hard time. I was going to leave this clip in normal time, but it took me like 5 minutes to just sew one tiny button on. So enjoy watching me struggle to get the needle through this material. It's a bit silly, in my opinion. So this is the finished product. Took me a very long time, especially trying to piece all these pieces together out of random scrap pieces, but I kind of knew that going into this. I like to make things more difficult. I thought about like piecing it together over the grey pants that I had bought because they fit fine, but then it wasn't really a good, like they were like super tight, I suppose, or like very skinny, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say, which was not really what I was going for. I mean, these turned out kind of skinny anyway, but you know, you live and you learn. And yeah, they fit okay. There is a bit of space here, but I could just put a dart in there or something just to finish it off a bit better. But for someone who's never made any clothing before, really, yeah, I don't think I've ever made any clothing. I've made curtains before, but that's just sewing a square together, isn't it? But yeah, pretty happy. Probably gonna wear them around the garden. But other than that, a good way to spend the weekend. And now I can live my dream of being a little railroad worker. So I'm happy, and I hope you enjoyed the process. See you next time.